Hey everyone, I'm Ron Klopfanstein, and you're in the hot seat on a Medium Monday. We want to welcome everyone who's streaming the broadcast on Facebook Live, streaming with us on 955theheat.com, and listening on the broadcast on 95.5 FM The Heat. Tonight, we have a very special guest. We'll be joined by Cassandra Harris Lockwood. She's the owner of 95.5 FM The Heat, CEO of For the Good, and a longtime activist and community leader who has just received a Lifetime Achievement Award. But first, springtime came to the Utica Zoo for its annual Eggstravaganza celebration. Associate producer Lily Christopher and I were there, and we have this report.
I'm Lily Christopher.
And I'm Ron Klopfanstein, and we're at the Utica Zoo for Eggstravaganza. We're with Andrea Heath. She's the executive director of the Utica Zoo. So Andrea, what's happening here today?
This is the kickoff really of our peak season. We're open all year, but really in the spring, we go full wild. You know what's so cool about the zoo?
What?
Our egg event is all about the egg. It's really the only place that's doing a hummingbird egg, an ostrich egg, talking about the difference in size. Also, how many species actually have offspring because of eggs. Wow. There's a number of them. So it's fun, but it's also educational. It's unique.
Yeah.
Here, by the way, are our white-naped cranes. We have a male and a female, so we will have eggs from them. And they actually come from a part of Asia that's typically cold, like the Himalayan, the cold part of Asia. So they do really well here at the Utica Zoo during the winter.
This is Hummingbird Head.
Hi.
So everybody, tell us a little bit about the events today and the event today, the message. What did it mean to perform at such a colorful event with all these kids?
It is so much fun. The zoo is the perfect place for seeing kids. We get to bring them in, at the end of the dance, we get to do our dances for everybody. We're here to make people happy, smile, and spread joy.
I'm with my new friend Damien here. So tell me, who's your friend here?
My friend here is the Easter Bunny.
Oh my gosh, a big celebrity. So what are you doing here today at the Utica Zoo?
Well, we were just about to go to the Eagle View Pavilion to go to a station for the Eggstravaganza today.
Well, that seems great because eagles make eggs, and that's what this is all about. And have you been having fun here today at the zoo?
Yes, we actually just saw the Happy Hags dance here today.
Awesome. Well, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
Well, happy Easter. It's good to talk to you. Lily, I think you have a question for our celebrity guest here.
The bunny has arrived to the zoo. So tell us, before you hop to everybody's houses in a couple hours, what are you doing at the zoo? What are you bringing to children at the zoo?
I went to Happy Hags Dance Troupe, Central New York. We spread magic of joy, of dance, to everybody, put smiles on their faces.
But there's an emu I mentioned. We have another large bird, and her name is Dew, and she lays eggs this is not her egg, but she does lay eggs that are large, and they are a cross between that blue and this blue. They're just gorgeous. Two eagles, Spirit and Colden.
So this is the eagle habitat. It says North American Bald Eagles on exhibit. These are from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
Yes, so we were going to talk for a moment about their eggs. So if we happen to find an egg that belongs to the North American bald eagle, we have to report it right away. We are not permitted to hang on to it. We actually have to turn it in. There's been such a movement over the past several, decades long to bring back the North American bald eagle. And the great news is we really are. And it's not unheard of now for people to say that they're seeing eagles flying.
So I'm sure that by having these eagles here on display, so many people see them, it really helps to show people what they're about. It's kind of like an ambassador for their species.
That's what all of our animals are, actually. You took the words right out of our literature. That's actually, you're very good at this. Because all of the animals that we have here are actually ambassadors for their species that remain in the wild.
Yeah.
So it helps teach us things.
So we're here with Dan. So Dan, tell us a little bit about your day and what's amazing about seeing this amazingly cool and amazingly scary animal.
It's you got to see it in person to appreciate how big it is.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, it's
and,
pretty, looks heavy too.
Yeah, and Utica Zoo really does a service by bringing all these animals to our community from around the world, you know, for us to appreciate.
Yeah. So are you and the kids having a good time?
Having a great time.
At the zoo? At the
Yeah.
zoo? Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Lots of egg-laying animals here too.
Yes,
You
yeah.
don't always think of the reptiles as laying eggs. But
No.
they do it.
Yeah,
well.
they lay the eggs, yeah.
The fish, you
And
know?
I'm here with Casey. So Casey, tell us a little bit about this iguana you were so intrigued by.
He's a green iguana. I've seen a lot about them. I don't know a lot about them, but I've only seen them on like television and stuff. I think it's cool to see him up close, is what I think.
You've seen that on television. Or do you follow animals? What makes you attracted to this particular exhibit?
I like lizards.
Are you learning a lot today? Are you having fun?
I am having fun. It's nice to spend time with my family and my dad and my siblings, and see all the animals.
We're here with Chris Wheel. So Chris, tell us a little bit about your magic trick and the fun celebration we have going on.
Yeah, we're over here at the Eggstravaganza at the Utica Zoo today. Going to be able to walk around. We're doing little shows here and there. People, I get to go up to people and meet people I've never met before and just show them some magic. Look, hi again. See, we got some fans and stuff. I'll see him again. We're just having a great time. The weather's perfect and the magic is good. We've got magic, we got music, we got food, we got, animals, right? We got animals at the zoo, right? But yeah, so we're hanging out, doing a lot of fun stuff today.
What do you want people to take away from today?
We always say this is a place to make memories. Memories are made here, so we really want people to take pictures, have laughter, create memories. I'm loving that there seems to be a lot of generations here. You know, I saw up in the entrance grandparents, with children, aunts and uncles, and families coming together. So lots of kids are coming with cousins. That's wonderful, and we want the Utica Zoo to be that place.
Animals, music, fun, and eggs, all right here at the Utica Zoo.
Happy Easter from all of us at the station. At the Utica Zoo, I'm Ron Klopfanstein.
And I'm Lily Christopher.
For 95.5 FM, The Heat. We're going to have that story up at 9 p.m. tonight, and joining me now in the studio is Cassandra Harris Lockwood.
Hi, Ron.
Hey, how are you? She spent her life helping people, building community, and standing up for what matters. And now she's just won a Lifetime Achievement Award. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you.
So tell me about this award.
Well, it was very exciting. It was very rewarding. I was very
Down in New York.
Yeah, it was a big fancy venue. This, the park, was it Queens Park or something? Anyway.
Yeah.
And I was nominated by a former student.
Oh,
that
really?
I had helped
Who?
out. Kevin Bird.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and Kevin's gone on to do great things, but I kind of
nice.
Discovered him but when he was a young man and encouraged him and kind of guided him a little bit. And he's the international prostate cancer advocate.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's international. He's known for it, and he started the Brown Bird Foundation, and and actually he was a big deal here when we did a campaign last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. He was. He didn't come into town, but we used his image, and he was very helpful and
It's
guiding.
so great that when a student of yours succeeds.
Yeah, and he's a singer, a dancer, an
Really?
actor.
Wow.
Yeah, no, he was really a talented kid, from Utica.
Yeah,
And he's actually, there's an exhibit on him at the Oneida County History Center.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what does the award mean to you?
Well, it means that I've been recognized, that there's value in the sacrifice and the work that I've
right.
poured out over the years.
It's a lot of sacrifice
It is.
to do this kind of
Yeah,
work.
it is. It is. But it's worthy. It's worthwhile. I mean, when you think about what Christ sacrificed, my pitiful little human life is hardly a
Compared
step in
to
there.
that.
Yeah, that's, compared to that. And we're just off the Easter season, so that's kind of very
Right. So it's
very-
on your mind. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. And singing in the choir and all those words and the music and the sermons, and it penetrates.
What
And
does your faith mean to you? What does it do for you?
it gives me a launch pad, a launch place. The church, people can say what they want about it, but there's you always have a place to step from. You know what I mean? There's community there. There's fellowship there. And to be able to, and combining with what I do as a journalist and as an activist, it also provides me with a place to support it. I bumped into John Furman, who were doing the Living Stations of the Cross.
Oh,
and
right,
I put
right.
that on a page.
Yep.
And the washing of the feet.
Right,
There's that
right.
humility and that that look back at service.
And it must be very sustaining when you do civil rights work, because the churches have always been involved in civil
Absolutely.
rights. And it must give you a solid foundation that gives you a comfort and a security that you wouldn't otherwise have, I imagine.
Yeah, it is encouraging and comforting. I think about Sister Marianne, Mother Marianne.
Right.
Come on,
right.
I talk about service.
Yeah.
She left here from Utica. This is the whole religious
And
thing.
she's now been made a saint.
Yeah.
She was a nun when she was in
She was a
Utica,
nun.
right?
Actually,
Yep.
before she was a nun, she was a Utica resident.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she came.
She grew up here.
And how about immigrants? She
Right,
wasn't born here.
right.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. right.
Do we kick her out? Is she any longer, does she qualify to be a saint? I don't know. But she was
Depends
awesome.
who you ask.
But she, and interestingly, she, was born in Germany, other people were born in Germany and they came to Utica. They didn't
Really?
well, not Utica, but the United States, and weren't as distinguished in the positive as she was. But anyway.
She was, yeah.
I'm thinking Trump's father came from Germany, and he did not
Right,
distinguish
right.
himself as a
Not at all.
humanitarian.
Not
But
at all.
she, actually, her father, worked in the mills, and she cared for him and learned how to care for the sick. She started St. Elizabeth Church, St. Elizabeth Hospital. She started St. Joseph's Hospital in Syracuse.
Right.
And then she took all that medical knowledge and understanding to Hawaii, where the lepers.
Sure, to the lepers, right?
Yeah, the lepers. Nobody wanted to mess with any lepers,
Right.
And that was the other thing too. When she started St. Elizabeth Hospital, that was a time before they allowed black people. Excuse me, I'm going to have some of that water.
Oh, yeah, sure. There you go.
Excuse me.
So she was at St. Elizabeth.
She started St.
She
Elizabeth
started
Hospital, and she made sure that everyone was admitted.
Given care.
Yeah, was given care.
Regardless
yeah.
of race.
Yeah, because they didn't do that back in those days.
Right. Yeah.
If you were drunk or you were black or you were Chinese or something, you didn't get that care.
Yeah. So, like, what lessons do you draw from examples like her? And from examples of other people who have really led the way in promoting equal rights, opportunities, and just equal access.
Well, validity.
Yeah.
Yeah, validates, inclinations that I have to do the same.
Yeah.
And, I have a family that with a rich history in science and healing. My grandfather was a doctor. I have aunts and uncles that were doctors and lawyers and that sort of thing. So, the health has always kind of been a theme of mine too.
Oh, that's true. It has been. Yeah. So that's where that comes from. You think a lot of that?
Well, yeah. Well, I so admired my grandfather. I mean, I grew up. My grandfather was a doctor. Is a doctor until he died. Then he was a doctor.
Right.
And then, so that was that kind of gave me a standard. There was a standard in my family. My father went to college. My mother, went back to school to become a nurse. So education was something that you did. It wasn't if you were going to go to college. It was where you were going to go to college.
Right.
So that was a theme in my family, and healing. And my father, having been the son of a doctor. We always had the medicine kit, in the house, and you did this or that and that for that, and you took this, So, treatments and applications for illness were something that became the norm. But for me, I always had this question in my head about old time stuff. You know, like what do they mean with healing clay? What is clay?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
right.
I play with clay at school, and we build stuff and we make stuff. And what's this clay? You know, or out in the yard you're digging. Oh, you've hit clay. What is this clay stuff? So I always had
okay, you interested in science?
Well, yeah, healing too, though.
Yeah,
but healing.
yeah.
But I am. Basically, I am a scientist.
It must have been
social
hard
scientist.
for your grandfather and for your father to be professionals in their field.
Are you
in black
kidding
at the
me?
time.
Yeah.
When we come back from the break, what I want to ask you is what they taught you, and your mother too.
Yeah.
What they taught you about being black as you were growing up. We'll talk about
Okay.
that more when we come back from
Okay,
the
great.
commercial. We're talking tonight with Cassandra Harris Lockwood, a longtime community leader and the recipient of a Lifetime Achievement Award. When we come back, we'll continue that conversation. You're listening to 95.5 FM The Heat. I'm Ron Klopfanstein. You're in the hot seat on a Media Monday. I'll have more after the break. Hey everyone, welcome back to the hot seat on this Media Monday. I'm Ron Klopfanstein. We're back with Cassandra Harris Lockwood. Her work has made such a difference in the community for so many years. Before the break, where I was asking you, your grandfather was a doctor, your father was an engineer, your mother was
engineer,
a doctor.
yeah.
Yep.
And wait,
So-
I got to give a shout out to all the aerospace engineers, and especially those people who are doubting that we ever went to the moon.
Oh, right.
Come on now.
Well, yeah.
My dad wasn't on that space shot, but he
Right.
was on other space shots, and he was totally tied in to that whole, you see that big room with all those guys with the.
Yeah,
yeah.
right,
Well,
right.
it was real, dude.
Of
it was
course
real,
it was
folks.
real.
Yeah,
Of course it was real,
But
yeah.
just moving on, yeah.
What did they tell you, though, as you were growing up? What did your parents teach you about being black and about being a black person in a white-dominated society, particularly so before the 60s?
Well, it's really funny. I was just remembering today, when I was, maybe it was yesterday, when I was a little girl, sitting on my father's lap, which was not often because he was always out there, and there were
Busy
other
guy.
kids after me. But I remember sitting on his lap and holding my hand with his hand, because my dad's very light skinned, and it would be like this and this,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I said, "Daddy, why are you white and I'm brown?" He said, "Oh, I'm not really white, honey. I'm just a light colored brown." Because even in 4 years old, 3 years old, I'm aware that black people are not treated well.
Right.
They're calling me nigger, and they're wanting to hit
Yeah.
me, and I got to fight. So one of the
As a child, you were
as
dealing
a
with
child,
that.
you can
Yeah.
absolutely. So the one thing was somebody called. You don't respect your teachers. Don't talk back, and pay attention in class, and don't start fights. But if anybody calls you a nigger, you can punch him in the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did.
Good.
So I
good
started
for
off.
you.
I was a
Yeah.
fighter.
Right.
You can't call me that, especially if I didn't do anything.
Right.
But and I did. It didn't require you to do anything. So anyway, so there was always this kind of fierce support for protecting your integrity.
Right.
As a person.
Yeah.
And so that kind of went forward, and there were some incidents I won't even talk about. But back to the grandfather thing. One of the stories was that when Granddad was one of the, if not the first, one of the first black doctors in Richmond, Virginia, and at that time, black people were barely allowed in hospitals, and they weren't allowed to practice.
What time would this be? The 1940s?
So Granddad actually
or?
was my father's going to be 100 in a month.
Yeah.
My father graduated. My grandfather graduated in 1926 from Howard University, same year my father was born, and so, from the mid 20s on was when he was in his practice.
Very, very much so. Pre-civil rights.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And in the South, we're talking the
right,
capital of the
right.
Confederacy
Virginia,
down there,
yeah,
right?
right.
So what happened was, as in Utica, when the Jews were in a spot, blacks were kind of welcome. You could, that was a place where black folks could be,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just any old white folks.
Right.
And so the Jewish guy owned the drugstore, and my grandfather was the doctor. So he ends up going to the hospital, and he's calling for my grandfather to come and take care of him.
Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
to attend him as his physician.
Right.
So my grandfather ended up being the first black doctor to practice medicine in a white hospital in Richmond. And then after that, he was the walking doctor, so he walked all over the place. And people would give him chickens and bags of potatoes and stuff.
Whatever they could.
We're talking the Depression.
Yeah. Oh, right.
You know, in the 30s. So, in I think it was 1979, Richmond opened its big health center, the main clinic for the city, and they named it after my grandfather.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And then his daughter, my Aunt Diane, my father's sister, was the first black physician, graduated from Virginia Medical College, and you can read about that in the Phoenix.
So
trailblazing.
Growing up, did you feel as if you had a legacy to uphold, to do great things with your life too?
Well, yeah, it was not out of the ordinary to do big things.
Yeah.
And so by the time I got to Whitesboro High School. Yeah, I ran for office in the 4th grade and won. I was in student government from the time I was a
Which
kid.
must have been kind of a groundbreaking thing for a black girl at the time too.
It
I would
didn't
say.
make that much difference to me.
Right,
It's just
but I mean for the others, I mean it was an accomplishment that you were able to do
yeah,
that,
but
I'm
it was funny because even though all that wild stuff was going on all over, and we were watching it every night on television, Ron.
Yeah, right. This is the 60s.
Yeah, and even the late 50s.
Right.
Even the late 50s.
Right.
Yeah, but I was such a spirit, I guess, as that was my natural inclination, and my classmates rallied around me. They, actually there was a story. They kind of rallied around me because the first day of school I beat up the bully.
Right. that's always a good move. Just go after the top guy.
I didn't know he was the bully,
Right.
but I knew that when I came in at 3rd grade, he was standing up in the corner, and we got a nigger in our class this year. And I said, okay, I know I'm not going to start any trouble in the class.
Right.
But when we went outside,
You were smart.
I was smart, and I waited. I didn't start anything right at the beginning. I
Yeah.
just waited until the end of recess, and I got between him and the door.
Yep.
And I beat him up and made him cry. And
Good for you. I love that story.
and so when we got in, everybody was like, "Oh, because he must have been." It took me years to figure it out.
Yeah.
That he had been bullying all these kids. I ended up beating up the bullies. That was what I did.
So that must have made you popular.
Yeah, I was.
I was gonna say.
popular, and I was a leader. They trusted me, and I came up with good ideas, and so.
And you organized the first nonviolent protest.
Yep,
too,
that was about 10 years later.
Yeah.
I was about 5 and 6 or no, I must have been like 7 then, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in Whitesboro, when we were at the new high school, we were the first class to go all the way through. And from sophomore to junior, and they had
at the new high school.
Yeah, the new high school.
Yeah, it was then. Yeah.
And they had an austerity budget. It was stupid. Spend all this money on this new school, and then there
they
were
cut
no
all their programs.
Yeah, you had to walk if you were within 2 miles. There were no new, no new books in the library.
Yeah.
No equipment in the labs, the science labs and stuff.
Right.
So
So you did something about it.
Well, yeah, we did. Actually, the first thing we did was we went to the school board. All the leadership got together and went to the school board and said, "Come on, you got to figure this out." They wouldn't even let us speak.
Wow.
So I said, "Oh, okay. You won't give us any attention." Well,
so you did something about it.
I did something about it.
How did those experiences inform your life now? You devoted your life really to service into the community, into the black community. How did those early experiences put you on that path?
Well, that's not the only thing I did. I did a lot of music.
You're a construction
did a lot of
worker too.
Did a lot of music. Did a lot of art. I'm an artist and a musician.
Right.
And
But a lot of
science
it
is
is, I
a
think,
whole herbal
informed
thing.
by-
But that's part of it. That was definitely part of it. And how did it? Well, it was part of who I am. It's just an expression of who I am, and I long for the time when I can really get back to more of that art and music stuff. Because but look at the times we're in.
Right.
Look at the times. Well, just like I said on your clip there from the from the No Kings protest. You know,
Yeah.
what's going on?
So much
We
is being
did this
undone,
already.
all the progress that we've made.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does music sustain you, and how do you use music to get your message across?
Well, you can write anything in a song that they can't ban. They can ban a book, but they can't ban a song.
They may start trying, but
but it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. You know, people be whistling it, and in the prisons. How about the times they are changing by Bob Dylan?
Yeah,
I've been doing that tune for years. You know,
right.
And it's time to crank it out again.
What are you trying to accomplish now as an artist? You know, I think anybody who does art, like we're always trying to do something new and push ourselves a bit. What are you pushing towards?
Well, I have projects that I'm working on at home, that I'd like to complete. And I have music that I'd like to perform. Yeah. And songs that I've written. Mm-hmm. And actually, there's a couple of songs kind of banging around in my head, Yeah. I did the Putin slam, right?
I did, yes,
I love the Putin slam.
Yeah.
But I got Trump really deserves his own. Yeah, but what am I?
His own slam.
Yeah.
Right. What got you interested in indigenous culture? That's a big theme of your life too. Indigenous culture,
yeah,
I think,
well,
and natural.
I think because growing up in Marcy, after we hit Utica and the projects, and ended up going to going to Marcy when we could finally find housing, I was just enchanted by the outdoors. I was bugs and birds and animals, and I've always been close to animals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a dog whisperer, I'm a horse whisperer, and I had a little friend that was also very adventurous, and I used to ride my bike to her house, and they had lots and lots of land and an old farm, and we used to go down into this ravine and take off all our clothes and run around, and we were Indians.
Yeah.
Was the Indians took off their clothes? Right. No, but we did that, We built rocks up with things, and we caught salamanders, and it's just always, made me feel like alive.
Right. Who are you? Like, how would you describe yourself? You have the musical influences. You're very, you've very into civil rights, obviously. The indigenous stuff. You do business now. How would you describe yourself?
Old. Old. I'm old.
We'll go with the
now.
wise. Well, you don't look old.
Well, I am.
Right.
Yeah.
But not looking old is still an accomplishment.
Well, that's part of what I do. My holistic healing,
Yes, that's part of being healthy.
Absolutely. And I'm really glad about it. And that's kind of, it trends with my with my ancestry. Mm-hmm. Because I had an auntie from Haiti who used to do herbs and things in the kitchen, and then on the other side was my grandfather, the doctor.
The doctor, right.
So I was kind of validated, not really, but at the time that I grew up in too, Ron, in the 60s, we were stepping out. We were changing the world. That was our charge.
Right.
So
what happened to most of your contemporaries who changed the world in the 60s, and now it seems that they're actually part of this backslide?
I don't know about that. Not my Kirkland girls, not my Hamilton.
Well, not
girls.
your friends, but I mean your generation.
Well, I don't know. I'm not counting on. I'm not. I don't know. I can't imagine that.
Who should we blame this on? That's my question.
Devil.
I think Generation X actually is a little bit guilty too. Of this bringing Trump.
Yeah, I think that there's been a lot of complacency in comfort with some people.
Oh, that's a good point.
A lot of complacency in just your attention being diverted, and the level of comfort that we, excuse me, that we sustain as Americans is really an aberration for the rest of the planet.
Right.
We live with so much ease, and when you think about what's going on in Gaza, in Ukraine, in Sudan, these horrible atrocities are going on. Like at this point, the whole Middle East is messed up.
Yeah.
That our level of comfort really belies the reality of this planet.
Right.
And for some reason, I've always been concerned, you know,
Yeah.
and had a heart for, you know, for suffering.
Right,
and,
right.
And wanting to ease that suffering. So,
Right.
you know, and I've been a mouthpiece for it. Not everybody is, but I contend that if people get the right information, they'll do the right thing.
So is that why you become a journalist as well as a musician and artist?
Well, yeah, you know, and when I did that walkout, I've always understood that, you know, when you're doing an action, you better have some media. So when I did that walkout, I was 16 years old, whatever, you know, 15, 16 years old. There weren't a lot of TV stations or radio stations, but WTLB was there. I called them and I, you know, made a statement. They simulcast it when we walked out. I had the TV station there. They had, you know, they came in, were shooting footage of it. So I always knew that the media
has power,
you know, because you do something under a rock or under a basket, you know, you're not getting
right. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
if nobody knows.
You knew that. You started playing at Utica.
Knew that. Exactly. Right.
When did you start playing at Utica?
That was in 1995, and I was just out of college. I was about 25. So like, yeah, I've always known that too. Is that one of the things you want to accomplish with 95.5 FM and with the Utica Phoenix media?
Well, it's very interesting that you asked that because it's because of that the lack of a voice and the repercussions of a lack of a voice, because it was several Juneteenths ago that I did a promotion with C&D Advertising. George Carpenter, you know, helped me make a spot for 30 seconds. I put it to all of the local radio stations. And I don't think I did TV, but I did the radio stations. Yeah. And expected to get a decent response from the public.
Right.
And I didn't, because none of the radio stations played my PSA.
Wow.
You know, being black and female and progressive and, you know, with some chutzpah, you know. Is not really, well, you know, you see the results.
I can relate to that, you know, in my lifetime, being gay too, a little bit better now, but I mean, when I first started back in my 20s, you know, I had to do my own thing because of that, so yeah.
And I saw that.
Yeah, right.
And I saw that, and you know, one of the things that, for black folks that I keep in mind is, you know, we have a big tent.
Yeah.
Black folks have a big tent.
Right.
And a lot of times when we, you know, can open that door, stick our foot, we let other people in.
And we have an obligation to open that door to each other. When we come back, I want to ask you, what are some of the lessons that you've learned in your life that you'd like to share with our audience here? We've been talking with Cassandra Harris Lockwood, whose impact can be felt across this community. When we come back, Associate Producer Lily Christopher, Photojournalist and AI Content Producer Jim Hale and I will take you to the Morrow Warming Center in Utica, where an April Fool's Day theme show brought joy, music, and encouragement to the people who needed it the most. And next week on the show, we're joined by guests from the United Way of the Mohawk Valley, along with producer Magic Visions. We're talking about, I'm Ron Klopfanstein. You're on the hot seat on a Medium Monday. I'll have more after the break.
Come here.
This is Ron Klopfanstein. You're on the hot seat on a Medium Monday. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We're back with Cassandra Harris Lockwood. She's the owner of 95.5 FM The Heat, this radio station right here. She's the CEO of For the Good Incorporated, a longtime leader whose work has touched so many lives. Cassandra, before the break, I wanted to ask you, what lessons have you learned in your life that you could share with people who are young? You know, I teach 8th grade kids, and some of them listen to the podcast and the show, and like, you know, they're going to have to, unfortunately, because there has been such a backslide, deal with more bias and discrimination than they should have to. You know, we all are now. What would you say to them?
Well, I'd say you have to be strong.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be sure.
Right.
At this point, make sure you check your sources of, you know, whatever the information is that you're acting on.
Right.
Well, do act.
Right.
You must act. And being on your phone or on your social media is not so much an action. You know, writing to
at times it's just a reaction, which is harmful.
And sometimes that feels good.
Right.
Just to get it out, you know.
Right.
But that's not necessarily going to make any
stuff.
Change in society, which is I think what we're talking about doing.
Right.
You know?
Right.
You know, be the change agent. and study hard. Be smart. You know, do well in school, because if you want people to take you seriously, you know, just being an influencer is insufficient.
Right.
It's insufficient. You know, you've got to be able to back it up and really substantiate whatever it is that you
know what you're talking about.
Know what you're talking about, you know. And there's some things that come easy to some people, and you know, sometimes people don't value them because they come easily, you know. I didn't know that I was a really good writer just because it came so easily. You probably too.
Yeah.
Did you?
Right. No, it came easy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
right.
That's good. So, you know, but I didn't value it. But then you can take what you are good at doing and apply that to what you want to have done, what the difference that you want to make in the world.
Another thing I think that came hard for me was civil rights. I mean, it's good in a way that I was part of the generation that had to fight for them. It's really awful to see them being lost, but knowing that I was part of the people that fought for them, and how important it is to fight for them, to hold on to them. I think like you maybe could agree with that too. Like being someone. We both had the experience of being civil rights activists.
I know, but you know the difference between there was no way I could hide being black.
Right.
There was plenty of ways that guys had to.
But do you think by fighting for your civil rights, it made you stronger?
Well, it gave me an outlet for my strength. But what I want to say about gay guys is, I had friends in high school that were gay. I didn't even know that they were gay, but they liked me. I liked them. We were friends, you know. Because this was before. You know,
probably before Stonewall.
Yeah, before Stonewall. Stonewall was '69. That's when I graduated. So all through high school, you know, I had many friends who were, I find out were gay, male and female. That. You know, I totally synced with, and so you know, being out as a gay person was not like being black, because you were out all the time. Right. You know, there was no way you could. Yeah. So you know, there's that difference, but fighting for your rights is fighting for your dignity.
Yes.
And everybody deserves dignity.
Right.
You know, and being held back all those, you know, during some formative times in your life is critical and damaging if it's not. And you know, and take that at a generational, at a cultural level. Look at black folks. How long black folks have been held down, held back, held down, and denied. And
it traumatizes through generations.
And you know, my brother was hitting me last night saying, you know, everybody at the table was going, oh, anyway, they didn't want us to argue. I wasn't arguing. I was just, you know, talking to my brother, and he's saying, you know, 70% of the crime in the cities is caused by black guys, and it's upon black people. But I said, look at what we've been subject to for over 400 years. To you guys, you know, and the limitations. And education is the key. It is absolutely the key. So yes, get your education. You know, learn who you are and build on your strong suit. Build on your strong suit, you know. But, you know, recognize that there's been harm, there's been damage, and, you know, and being able to undo it is a process. You know, and
a long
healthcare.
process.
Look at healthcare. Black folks in healthcare. It's a horrible, you know, situation that we're in. It's the worst healthcare parameters, the worst diets, and you know, we've been subject to such deprivation for centuries. And it's a culture, like I wrote in that piece, you know, this is just the operating system that America works on. Is that black folks are down here and everybody else. One of the first things that immigrants learn when they come to this country is the word nigger. Okay, sorry, it's the truth. And that you don't want to be down there with them. You know, they're a stepping stone to get to who you can possibly be.
So to wrap it up, what have you learned from your life about being strong, about staying strong, about getting strong?
There's consequences for it. There's consequences.
But how do you do it for people that aren't strong? And nowadays people have to
find
get
somebody
strong.
to hook up with. Find a person that you trust and can be an ally. We all need allies. And if you're not strong, you'll be stronger. You'll be associated with strength. You'll learn how to be strong. You'll learn techniques, and you'll be appreciated for being that ally.
I like that. Congratulations on your award too.
It was by the Young Gifted in Black.
Yeah, how
entrepreneurs.
cool.
And I got
Young,
the Gifted in Black, but I'm not so young anymore. But
I don't know.
appreciate
You know,
it.
young is a state of mind.
That's
So
true.
it really is. At least
true.
it is for me.
Okay.
We've been talking tonight with Cassandra Harris Lockwood. Thank you again for being with us here, and congratulations again on a Lifetime Achievement Award. Before we go tonight, Associate Producer Lily Christopher, photojournalist and AI content producer Jim Hale and I want to take you down to the Morrow Warming Center in Utica, where JWatch presented a free April Fool's themed show for people who are experiencing hardship and homelessness. We have this report.
I'm Lily Christopher.
And I'm Ron Klopfanstein at the Morrow Warming Center, where comedian JWatch is hosting an April Fool's Day themed show that's about more than just the jokes. It's about community, connection, and being seen.
We've got the man of the hour himself. Let's hear it for JWatch. Give him a loud round of applause.
With JWatch, and he's an organizer of tonight's event. What's happening here tonight?
Well, tonight we have the open mic per usual every first Sunday of the month.
So why do these shows? For the homeless at the Warming Center here, why is it important to offer this to this population?
Honestly, Ron, every time I feel like stopping or giving up, you know, from just being tired or like just the way things been, I've been hurt a lot this year. Yeah. But the best way for me to move forward from being hurt is to heal.
Yeah.
And if I can offer healing to someone in a way or let them have space to heal themselves, then it just comes around when it comes around, you know. And just giving people a voice to be a voice and a light and a space to be seen and heard, you know. And that's what we went with. I will tell you, we did what we were seen, heard, and understood. And if we could just tackle those three things, a lot can change in society for real.
Yeah.
You know.
We're here with Kristen, and Kristen, are you a resident here?
Yes, sir. I've been living here for a while. I lost my income because I had a drug addiction. Mm-hmm. So I've been clean now for 45 days.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm proud of myself.
You should be.
I realized I'm getting nowhere doing drugs. I'm losing money I don't have, and I need everything that I have so I can get better.
What sorts of services do you get here?
At the church?
Yeah, at the church or Warming Center.
Well, I live here. They help us with hygiene items. They help us with clothing. They allow us to shower, wash our clothing. They feed us. They wake us up and feed us. Yay! Shower, wash our clothes. They let us sleep here. They give us a blanket and a pillow. We're safe here. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay, we're safe here. They bring in comedians and shows, and it helps lighten our spirits. It lets us see a different side of things. So to me, it just lightens the inside, so I can see something different. Because on the outside, we don't see that. You know, we just see the regular humdrum, and we need better, in my opinion. I mean,
yeah.
Everybody needs help, and a lot of people don't want to help us.
Let me ask you a difficult question.
Okay, I'll try my best to answer.
If this place weren't here,
okay,
what would have become of you?
I don't know. There's not a lot of people, shelters and stuff to help us. A lot of places look down upon us like we're no good. It's not that we're no good. It's hard for certain people to find jobs because of our mental health, our drug addiction, and also I go to Helio, which is a substance abuse mental health place. Right now I'm in the process of getting my identifications. So I mean, I'm in the middle of getting all that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, without that and without this place, I'm not going to say I'd be on the street, sleeping on the street, but I have before.
Yeah.
And
what is that like?
It's scary because, of course, there's wild animals. I'm not saying they're going to bite you. No. I mean, but
and wild people too. I imagine.
Right. There are some out there that people have seen on the news will kill you or will hurt you.
What is your message to someone who is trying to overcome drugs and could use a place like this, like of not feeling ashamed or embarrassed?
Well, the thing with a lot of people that are on drugs is they think they're all right, and they're not. I pray a lot. I mean, well, you see this. I mean, I pray a lot. They don't think they can ask for help.
I just have one more question for you.
Sure.
And it's also, it's another one I think is a difficult question.
Okay.
I see a lot of really nasty, negative, vicious stuff on social media, particularly Facebook, about this center and about the people that live here.
About here?
Yeah. What would you say to them? And you seem like someone who would be a good neighbor to me. Are you guys good neighbors? And what would you say to people who like prejudge you just because you're homeless or just because of your circumstances?
I don't want them to say, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say it.
Well, what would you say?
There is a place that wants this place shut down. Because Pastor Mike is helping us.
Right. That's the people I'd like you to speak to. What would you say to them?
Number one, they need to have a word with God. Number two, Pastor Mike is helping us because we have nowhere to go. We need help. He's helping us because he's trying to help us get better. And just because we have nothing, they need to look not at what we've done, but at what we can do.
But the truth is that you are me, and I need poetry now, more than ever.
We are here with Matt right now. So Matt, tell us a little bit about your performance tonight on Easter and how performing in general, yet alone on Easter, has helped open your healing and open your faith with your past addiction as well.
Well, I mean, Easter is a very symbolic date. You know, the earth is coming alive again, and Jesus was resurrected, so it's a symbol of like the phoenix.
New beginning. That's right. Yeah,
starting over, and like it's never too late to turn the corner. You know what I mean? We can never, you know what I mean? Like actually give up.
Someone who struggled and with addiction and wrote poems. How did poems help cure you? What gave you what made you like become awake due to these poems?
What can you say in poems that you can't say otherwise? To add to her question there.
So, learning to express yourself is a way to make sense of the world. The more you can express your inner feelings and your emotions, the more you can actually feel like you have control of them. Sometimes the only way we can control anything is to come to terms with it. You know, there's so much in this world that we have no control over whatsoever. But being able to be at peace with the parts of ourselves that we are out of control of is a big aspiration. And expressing our inner world it's what we've been doing since we started scribbling on cave walls and telling stories around campfires.
What was your wake-up call? Like, what gave you almost a spiritual awakening? Like, this has to stop. I can do this.
My grandchildren. I have 8 grandchildren. They think I am perfect. I want my grandchildren to see I'm not. I want them to not see any wrong in me. But I was getting high on one drug and it killed me 3 times.
Yes.
I want to be alive.
What was your life like before drugs?
I wish I could tell you. I'm 50. I've been doing drugs 35 years. So I started when I was 15.
Yeah.
I was a spoiled brat. I know that. I got what I wanted when I wanted. I wanted everything. I got everything.
You came from a family with money?
Oh, very wealthy. They're still very wealthy.
Mm.
But I'm not the type, if I needed $1, I'll go pick cans of bottles up. I'm not the type to ask anybody for anything. It's not in me. I would find a job, but I don't have the correct ID.
Right. But you're working on that.
Yes.
I'm sure there are a lot of things
I was
like
in a
that.
car accident, I'm sorry.
When a person is homeless, I'm sure there's a lot of things like that.
And it's
barriers to
embarrassing. It's
getting a job.
embarrassing to be homeless, but
Why?
I should have a place, but I did this to me. It's not up to anybody to feel sorry for me because I did it to me.
Well, if you started when you were 15, it's not entirely your fault.
I know. I mean, I have my mental issues, but
Yeah.
I've been through trauma in my life, but it's not all because of drugs.
Right.
But, I mean, doing drugs, my mental health, my substance abuse, I mean, it all goes into, I mean, it's all in one little ball. I mean, I'm working on doing everything to get better.
What are your goals in life?
Truthfully,
Yeah.
I want to get an apartment. That's an apartment, just me.
Yeah.
And I want to work. I have a friend of mine, his cousin, sorry, has a sanctuary for dogs. Dogs keep me calm. And I would like to work on that sanctuary for dogs. And she wants me to because there's one dog that doesn't go to anybody but her and her cousin. And this dog comes to me. And she wants me to come and work there as a volunteer. That's what I'm like. I'm good with that. I want to work with animals.
Yeah.
And I want to be around my grandbabies, but all my children live in different states. But it's okay.
But you're 45 days closer to making these goals, it sounds like.
Right. And I can do it. It's going to take time. But it's not like upset because I'm going forward.
Yeah.
I'm not going backwards, so I'm going forward.
Right.
And I just keep it in prayer and I'm good. And I'm thankful I'm doing it.
This event was more than just entertainment. It was about being remembered and being welcomed in the community. Here at the Morrow Center, I'm Lily Christopher.
And I'm Ron Klopfanstein for 95.5 FM, The Heat. We'll have this full episode streaming Wednesday at 9 p.m. at uticaphoenix.net/Media Monday. I'll be back next week with another Hot Seat Media Monday. I'm Ron Klopfanstein. Stay tuned now for the Easy Ride Home with Jay Easy up here on 95.5 FM, The Heat.